Hi, I'm Anders Von, and today I will be providing a general overview of the National Socialism. First of all, what is really National Socialism? The so-called Nazism is a movement that took place mostly during the past century and that shared several characteristics with the Italian fascism. First of all, it was characterized for being a totalitarian movement, having deep contempt towards democracy and liberalism, and this could be seen in their disclosed disdain upon socialism. Furthermore, they believed in natural social hierarchy, which could be seen in their anti-Semitism and their racism. Finally, they were characterized for being expansionists, and economically speaking, they shared several characteristics with capitalism, but without predetermined objectives set by the government. In terms of how it emerged and how it surged, there are two opposed arguments. The first one talks about simply how Nazism emerged during the Weimar period, and it was as a consequence of the results of the World War One and the turmoil brought by the Treaty of Versailles. He talks about how the Treaty of Versailles fueled the growth of the Nazi movement based on economic and political instability, in addition to the totalitarianism rising in their European counterparts, Italy and Spain. It allowed Nazism to grow based on their resentment and their hate towards the race of Europe. The other argument, however, talks about deeper roots of the emergence of Nazism during the 19th century. It talks about how the German talking states were military dominant under the Prussian ruling over Europe, which led to their German nationalism to surge during the mid 1800s. Furthermore, the Prussian rulers were characterized for being conservative and being authoritarian, which were features that created nostalgia for authoritarianism among Germans during the Weimar period and was easily exploited by the Nazi movement. Here are the four most relevant figures, the first one being obviously uh, the widely known Adolf Hitler, who was a Nazi leader, was a chancellor, and was a Führer of the Nazi Germany. Joseph Goebbels was the Minister of Propaganda and was chancellor for a day after the death of Adolf Hitler. Furthermore, Heinrich Himmler was a Nazi politician, a police administrator, but more importantly, was a military commander of the Nazi Party. Finally, Alfred Rosenberg was a Nazism ideologist and was assigned as a minister for Eastern conquered territories. Some of the key ideas of nationalism talked about the segregation of the population by their race, desiring to only live those of the Aryan race, talking about how disabled, homosexuals, and people of other races were just a burden on the Aryan race. Furthermore, Nazism talked about the expansion of their ideology in order to seek the so-called Lebensraum, which was to look the space for the German people to live. Finally, they thought and they believed in the creation of a young, athletic, and strong generation of obedient Aryans in order to ensure the prevalence of the Nazi Germany through the Nazi Jew programs. National Socialism can be found in today's society, especially in the form of neo-Nazism and white supremacy. Neo-Nazism is a reenactment of the Nazi movement extrapolated to today's context. Essentially, it talks and it follows the same ideas of racial hierarchy, totalitarianism, and conservatism. The white supremacy movement, however, talks about more broadly of the belief of natural superiority of humans with lighter skin over the rest of the racial groups, and it is often linked to ultranationalism, racism, and fascism. Finally, they deeply believe in the use of violence to attain their goals. In conclusion, the Nazi movement was one of the strongest ideologies to ever exist, as well as it was one of the most destructive. And the sequels of the passing of Nazism can still be felt both in Europe and worldwide. Personally speaking, I am not sure if Nazism could triumph again in today's society, considering our cultural advancements. Nevertheless, I don't discard it. I do believe, though, that with the social advancements that we have made today, we are straying every day further and further from the ideologies upon which the Nazi movement was based on. Thanks for watching.